What's up everyone? Today I'm giving my thoughts, feelings, highlights, and disappointments in this review of the brand new DLC Wave 3 of the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass. And let me just put it straight out there. I think this is a really special wave with some historically good Mario Kart tracks. But which ones are the real winners and which aren't? That's what I'm gonna tell you right now. Let's get into the tracks. London Loop is pretty basic, as far as these real-world city tracks go. There's not really anything that memorable other than a phone booth or double-decker bus that make you say, oh yeah, this is London. The track is a pretty satisfying length though, and there are a few interesting parts, like this big grassy patch that can become a wicked shortcut if you have a mushroom. London Loop is not a fan-favorite track that you're gonna pick with your friends to play all the time, but it's a serviceable new addition that gives representation to another world-famous city inside of the game. Boo Lake, on the other hand, is on the receiving end of a fantastic visual upgrade. Obviously, the graphical difference going from GBA to Switch is monumental, and this one really turned out especially good. This spooky track has some really nice lighting that adds to the atmosphere in a way that just wasn't possible on the Game Boy Advance. Plus, some added anti-grav and underwater sections help to pack a lot of action in this otherwise short course. The skeletal fish coming at you while you're underwater is fantastic too. They made me smile the first time I saw them, and they still do. I said to myself, yeah, they did a really good job with this remake. Fitting for the Rock Cup, Rock Mountain has found its way over from Mario Kart 7. And right away, the extended glider sections took me right back to that game. I love how the flavor of older Mario Kart games is getting injected into 8. It's really awesome, and makes this easily the definitive Mario Kart game when all is said and done. Every time I head up the mountain, I get this little hit of adrenaline, saying to myself, alright, gotta focus, gotta dodge that rock. And does anyone else think of this when the rock is above you about to fall? Maple Treeway is also back. And that's really all there is to say. I'll always love the Wii tracks, so this is a classic in my eyes. All things considered, it's a pretty faithful recreation, so it was great to revisit a track I'm nostalgic for. And just like the old days, I can still never seem to grab these stray mushrooms out of the leaf piles. Maybe one day I'll learn. Moving on to the second cup of this pack, the Moon Cup. And I'm starting with its first course, another from Tour, Berlin Byways. For me, the real-world city tracks are kinda losing their luster a bit, but I have to say Berlin Byways is one of the more interesting of the bunch. While many of the Tour city courses are pretty tame, I was surprised to notice that this Berlin-based track was pretty chaotic. A lot of uneven terrain and various branching paths make this one a bit more eventful than our typical romp through a world city. And this railroad section where you can enter the train for a double item box is pretty clever and unique. Berlin Byways isn't a track that's gonna change the world, but I definitely prefer it over London Loop. You know, I was never huge on Peach Gardens back in the day. But even still, after all these years, I remember this Mario Kart DS track pretty well. The music and iconic locale give the remade version in 8 Deluxe a really nice regal feel. I felt like I was exploring the castle grounds in Mario 64 and found a hidden racetrack in the back of the castle. The Princess Peach's castle vibe is done perfectly here. And even though this new version of Peach Gardens isn't one-to-one with the DS game, I picked Dry Bones in the B-Dasher and I felt like I was thrust right back into my childhood. But nostalgia aside, this is a fantastic track on its own and one of my favorites of the wave. It's not super colorful or visually stimulating since everything's basically either white and green, but still there are some nice details in the background. For example, the topiary Mario characters and of course the giant piranha plant are always a treat to see. At least right now during the holiday season, you could argue that Merry Mountain from Tour is the main attraction of the wave. This festive track has a really pleasant Christmas town type of vibe and is great for staying in and playing some wintertime races with friends. Colorful holiday lights reflect on the quaint dark stone streets for a really cozy and unique feel. There's everything from presents, a flying sleigh, and candy cane shaped lights lining the streets. The team really didn't hold back with the holiday spirit on this one. And that's okay, because for me, this course delivers an unforgettable moment. Overlooking the little village from the top of the snowy hill was actually breathtaking. And in my opinion, this really is an incredible track with a ton of character. My one complaint is that its short laps go by really quickly, which I guess is more of a compliment to the course's design than anything else. And finally, for our last track of Wave 3, another incarnation of Rainbow Road has made its way over. This time, it's the high-flying rendition from Mario Kart 7 on the 3DS. I'm gonna be frank, this was and still is one of my personal favorite tracks in all of Mario Kart, so I was thrilled to see it here. Zooming over Boost 360 inside the Star Tunnel, drifting around the rings of Saturn, and tricking off craters on the surface of the moon. This is the kind of stuff that never gets old. This is my personal favorite version of Rainbow Road because of how much they lean into the space theming, and this sharp new remake is fantastic in 8 Deluxe. From the eye-popping colors to that distinct Rainbow Road music, to the planet-hopping concepts at play here, I'm just a sucker for 3DS Rainbow Road. Probably a top 5 or 10 course for me in Mario Kart history, and my overall favorite of the entire wave. Wave 3 takes it for me as the best of the Booster Course Pass so far, with the Moon Cup being my personal favorite yet. I think it has 4 strong tracks, and I enjoy it over the Rock Cup, even though I think that one's solid too, no pun intended. Overall, I think this wave is a fantastic holiday gift from Nintendo and Mario Kart 8, the almost 9-year-old game that continues to be the gift that keeps on giving. So that's it for me today. Thanks for watching this quick review of Wave 3 of the Booster Course Pass. If you liked what I had to say, then I hope to see you here again soon, as I'm talking about all things Nintendo this holiday and throughout the new year. It's a really exciting time to be a fan, and I'm just happy to be here to talk about it with everyone. So thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you next time.